show this. Hi there, I'm Angie Ness, and I'm doing the Sushi 101 again. We've done this class a couple times now, and it's been a success. And it's fun, it's easy. You can get all the ingredients here in Harmony or any other places. They're not really intimidating ingredients. We're going to be talking about the rice preparation, a little history of the sushi, just kind of fill in a couple of things here and there. I'm going to be talking a lot. Sometimes you won't hear me talk, so if you don't see my mouth moving or anything, that doesn't mean you're having technical difficulties. I may just be kind of in my zone. So anyway, we'll go over the ingredients first. First of all, I want to say, if you do have any questions during time of class, let Kate know. I'm not going to be able to see anything, so I'm kind of just going to be going here. So let Kate know, so we can kind of answer your questions while we're creating the sushi. So then, if you had a question at that point, we can address that too. So, all right. So we'll get started. I have my handy sheet out here, and for you guys who's going to be following along, and you did your rice already, and you're set up like me, congrats. If not, then you can get back to this anytime you want. I believe we're gonna be on YouTube, so you can go ahead and do this again. When I do any ingredients recipe, I like to watch it first and then go back. That's just kind of how it is. Otherwise, this is all kind of new, so just bear with us and we'll get along. And so I'm going to go ahead and just show you what I have here. So the ingredients, let's go through that first. We have our already cooked sushi rice. And I don't know if you guys got all of this. If you don't, come in and get your sheets. It's got the sushi rice ingredients and how to on all that instructions, and also couple of pages of different things here. We're going to do some poor man tuna rolls and smoked salmon rolls. We'll get to that today, so that'll be great. I know you don't want to sit around too long for any of this, so let's get started. So with our sushi rice, a little bit about sushi rice for sushi specifically. So you will need sushi rice. Long grain rice, any of those other rice tend to be not sticky. They separate, just like basmati or anything. So each rice to its different purpose, right? So sushi rice, if you had a rice cooker, it's pretty much 1-to-1 with the rice and the water, and you put that on your rice cooker. If you have an Instapot, same thing. Now I did this in the stovetop, and most of you may do that as well. It's going to be a little bit more water, just because the steam does escape on that in the stovetop. And as for me, I forget sometimes, and it bubbles over, so you lose a lot of water that way. And I've lost a lot of water before, yes. And so I had to put a little bit extra. So, and then you want your sushi rice to be not hot when you're doing your sushi. You want it room temperature. What I had to do today to get this going was put it in the fridge just to cool it, and kind of paddle it a little bit gently, put a towel over it so you don't lose all the liquids and it doesn't dry out. So before I did that, I'm going to show you what sushi rice, kind of hard to tell right now, but you got to rinse it. You got to rinse it a couple times before you cook it, just because you want to get the starches out. You want it sticky but not gummy. So you want to get all of those extra starches out before you cook it, and you've got to make it really nice and clear, your water. So and then you can go ahead and cook that. So while you're cooking that, you would have made your seasoning. And I didn't have, you can buy those seasoning rice vinegar. We didn't have that, and that's okay. So we made some. So it's 4 tablespoons rice vinegar, 2 to 3 tablespoons sugar, and 2 tablespoons salt. Like I said, you can have all of this here when you come to the store and pick it up at Kate will have it. So you see, all tablespoons. So we're just gonna put that in here when it's at room temperature. And then we're just going to mix that gently. And you're not mashing it. You're not mashing it, you're just mixing it. You don't want to disturb it too much. Just want to mix it, incorporate it all in there. Okay, so set that aside. Now I got my little station here, and you will get rice everywhere. Have a towel handy here. So let's just go over the, so I got my sushi rice here. I have my water ready when I start rolling. This is going to be really sticky, so you want a lot of liquids in your hands so you don't get it sticky all over the place. Sushi rice. Now we have the, see that? This is the sushi nori, and it's about 10 sheets. So with all the ingredients here, it's kind of set to an amount of maybe about 5 of, you'll make 5 sushi, maybe a little bit more. It all depends on how much you fill it too. And that's another thing, when it comes to the ingredients, there's kind of not really like a method of putting it into measurements. Like if you go to the second page here for the vegetables, it's 1 cucumber, 1 carrot, 1 avocado, things like that. There's no measurement. It all depends on how much you fill your sushi. And also, you know, you'll have leftover. That's okay too. So, all right, so we got our rice ready. So I got my sushi mat, got my paddle. This is all also available here. And what I like to do is I like to cut parchment paper to the same size as my sushi mat, okay? You don't want it to overlap. You don't want it to be a little too big or anything, because what you're doing is you are letting the sushi ride on this. You'll see when we get to that. And you don't want the sushi mat to get really sticky. By the end of the night, you will definitely have sticky rice all over the place, guaranteed. So not only that, but it's easier to remove, so nothing gets stuck onto the mats. You can also use a Ziploc bag, a 1-gallon Ziploc bag, and you could wrap that in here. I like to use this one. And you can use this the whole entire time you're doing the sushi. Okay. I got my water. I got all of my veggies right here. And this is how we want it cut. Matchstick size, like this. This is the cucumber, carrots. Can't do matchstick on that. That's good enough. Avocado. That's for the other recipe too. And then we have, oh yeah, we have eggs. This is optional. If you're vegan, you don't want any eggs or anything. So this is basically just like an omelet, a really thin omelet, and then you just cut it in strips. You'll see why we're doing it like this when we lay it all out. Okay. All right, and I got my nori rice. All right, we are going to begin. So make sure you got your water here, your rice right here. So everything is kind of in like a production line, you say. This is really fun to do with kids too, by the way. I had that with my nephew in the summertime, and he's young, but he's a builder and he likes to put things together. So this was really fun for him. So sushi, the nori sheets, it comes in like shiny side up and rough side. It also is not a perfect square. I like to just do the long length, I guess you would say, kind of vertical towards me. Now, if you made a mistake and you actually did you turned it upside down or whatever, it's not the end of the world. It's gonna taste great. So just know that. But if you want to be a perfectionist, the shiny side is the outside, okay? So you want to put your rice on the rough part, right here. And it kind of makes sense that it's a little rough, so maybe you can hold the rice better. So what you want to do is you want to line everything up. And with the sushi mat, you make sure it's this direction, not this way. That's going to be hard to roll. This way, okay? You got your parchment paper, got the sushi roll mats right here and the nori. And now you want it close to your body as much as you can right here. And you want all the edges together right here on the bottom. Okay, that's where you start. Okay, now I'm gonna put my sushi rice. So you don't need much, maybe like a fistful right here. Might be a little too much there. You'll figure it out. You'll see. You're gonna spread this out just like this, and you're being gentle with it, but quick too and efficient at the same time. And you are, most importantly, you do not want to mash it in there. You don't want to press. Okay, the sushi rolling technique will do all of that. It'll stay together. So you want to put a 1-inch border on the top. And you want to spread this out pretty evenly. And it's okay too if you have little holes here and there. Once we roll it, you'll have all of that filled in. And you know, you don't want it too full, or else you're not going to be able to see. I need more, so you know, you kind of have to just eyeball it. The fistful is kind of just an idea of where to start, but you want to get it even. And I forgot to dip my hands in the water, so now I'm going to have sticky fingers here, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and clean myself up here in a little bit. So anyway, this is quick. I mean, this is not going to take too long. That's why you pay the big bucks when you're eating sushi, right? When you go to a restaurant, because they do it right there in front of you, and it's fresh, and it's, you know, it's just made. It's amazing. But now you can do it at home, so this is a great part of it. All right, so that's it, right? That's it. So get your hands clean. Towel. All right. So let's show you this. So basically, there's that. You know, there's a little bit of holes here and there. No big deal. There's my 1 inch or half an inch gap. 1 inch, half inch. There. Anyway. So now we start putting our goodies in here. And you got to make sure you're always lined up. And the good thing about the sushi, I mean, it's tough. It's not going anywhere. So make sure you're lined up again. So I'm going to start. So you want to put your carrots just on its own line. Every single veggie in its own line. You start on the bottom, going towards you. And then the next layer would be cucumber. And then avocado. So you got layers here. So you can do kind of a vegetable kind of thing on here, like kohlrabi, anything kind of tougher. Kohlrabi, jicama, those are nice crunchy. Don't put a tomato in here, that'll just be messy. So, and just follow the ingredients first, and then you'll go from there. You can experiment as much as you want. So now we have our tuna. So when we get our tuna purchased, we don't want it in oil. We don't want this oily. So you just have it in water. And this is just regular tuna. And just one can, and it goes a long ways because you're not going to need that much of it. So we got our tuna here, and we need our mayo. Some of the stuff I have here are pre-made already just because we weren't sure about our time. But I kind of wanted to show you this. It's really simple. Sriracha. All of this you can get at the store. It's very available. I like 2 tablespoons, put it that way. And sesame oil. And all of this is like pantry staples for me. So like sushi rolls, these sushi noris, that can live in your pantry for a long time. All of these can live in there. Tuna, it can all live in your pantry for a long time. The rice. So if you have that craving for sushi anytime, you could definitely just whip this out together. You know, granted, if you don't have all the veggies, you can definitely just get away with just the salmon or the tuna right here. You can do that too. Oops, a little too much. Okay. And it's all on here, okay? I'm just kind of improvising. And chives. We didn't have chives. That's why I said improvising. We didn't have chives, so we have green onions, chop it smaller. That's it. And there you go. And that. Mix it. Now, you make sure you get all that water out of the that tuna too. You don't want this runny. All right. So you can add other things to this if you wanted to. Sesame seeds. You can add all sorts of things in here too. Just don't make it runny. That's kind of the secret to it. But just follow along with the ingredients to the T on this first. And then the more you make it, the more you can start experimenting with things. All right, so, you know, I just mixed it. There's gonna be some chunks there, that's okay. It's all gonna be incorporated in there. I'm gonna move all this. I don't know if you can see it or not. All right. So we're gonna put our, and it doesn't take much, really. See, this is gonna go a long ways. See, that's it. Maybe that's a tablespoon and a half-ish on there. And it's all in the line, so. And let's see. Okay, so the technique now. So make sure it is still right by the end of your mat here, okay? So I'm gonna use these fingers to hold the sushi mat, the parchment paper, and the edge of the sushi nori. So it's all hanging on, right? You're holding on to that. And then these fingers here are what's going to be holding on to the stuffing. So you're rolling the mat and everybody else in there. I mean, it's going to be super sticky that when you let go, it's almost there. It's not going anywhere. You've started it, okay? So you've started your roll. Now, keep your 2 hands, remember now, and then these three here, holding on to the nori, and you're pulling away the the paper and the mat while you're rolling, and you're giving pressure when you're rolling. You're giving a little bit of pressure, not too much. Don't squish it over here. So you're evenly kind of, you know, pressing a little bit. And then you just keep going. See, this is kind of how you want to evenly do that, just like that. You see that? Okay, can you see that from your angle? Okay. Yep. See, my roll is almost there, halfway, and it's, look, it's not going anywhere. The sticky rice, the sushi, all the stuff in there, it all works together. So if you mess up, you know, just it's not, just put it back. At this point, you can even put it back here, whatever, right? You can still do that. Just make sure it's all in the edge there. And then just keep rolling. Then once I'm almost at my end here, I'm gonna take my water and then just dip my finger and kind of seal it like an envelope. And then I give it a final kind of gentle roll, okay? And you got yourself a sushi. So that is pretty simple, right? So, so once you do a couple of these, you'll get the hang of it. Then you can experiment on your filling and also on different ways of, there's a million ways of filling your sushi. And also there's a million ways of playing around with the sushi wrappers and everything. So you're gonna let this rest for a couple minutes. So we're gonna do another one. Let's do another one. Anybody have any questions yet so far? Okay, you guys are all pros. All right, so here's my, we're gonna do it again, all right? So I just kind of want you to get that again, and maybe I forget something to say or mention, then we can go over it again. There's my sushi roll here. Now in the restaurants, if you have, if you eat a lot of sushi in the restaurant industry, they cut these in half just to save on sushi noris. They cut it in half, but I think for you guys beginning, do the whole thing so you have an actual nori wrapper to grasp on and actually do it and be more comfortable. The shorter ones are, it's a little bit short, so you don't have a lot of experimentation time or practice time to roll it. So if you just do the, you know, first couple of times, but if you're going to feed a whole group of people and you don't want to, you know, spend so much money on your nori, you can go ahead and definitely cut it in half. Your filling is about the same thing too. You don't necessarily cut it in half, but your rice will be half, so you'll save on that. But your filling, you know, you still got to do the line anyway. So, okay, we're gonna do another one. And yeah, it didn't take that long, right? That's pretty easy. So yeah, I mean, when I have friends over, I do this for them, and while we're talking and chatting and stuff, and it's easy. But it's better if they can do it too, along with you. So yeah, you can actually have some great fun with having your kids do it with you, and or friends or something. It is kind of a lot of work, but it's still worth it. See, I mean, this is really fast. You don't have to sweat on this too much. A little bit more. Now, like I said, this is a rough estimate of the measurements on my sheet here, if you have it. It all depends on how much rice you fill this in. In the beginning, you may put so much and you run out and you only had a certain amount of sushi rolls. So next time you do it again, you can kind of have an idea of what you were doing and maybe correct that later on. But like I said, it takes a lot of practice. See, by the time I'm done talking here, I'm done with one roll. Okay. So same thing, I'm going to fix it and position it to my side here to where, right here, right in your stomach level or something. And you could double up on some of these veggies if you don't have the tuna. It's okay too. See here, this one I'm kind of putting a little bit more carrots, a little bit more cucumber. Kohlrabi would be good. I think jicama, those kinds of crunchiness to it. And a lot of it needs to be like matchstick too. So not necessarily matchstick, but like a broccoli would be kind of odd to put on here. So kohlrabi would be a good substitute for that. Tomatoes, avoid. All right, so we got our tuna again. I'm just going to do this in repetitious. You'll learn that way. Okay. And my eggs. So while I'm in the subject of fish here, the tuna, you want sushi grade fish. That was flash freeze in the process when they harvest the fish, just because of bacteria and all of those bad things about fish. You know, you hear about that. So the flash freeze actually kills all the bacteria right there, and they have that on the frozen aisle. But you have to make sure that that's what you get, because if you're going to be eating raw, I suggest you really be careful on your intake of where your fish comes from and all sorts of things like that. That's why we're doing the canned tuna. It is very affordable. It is a good practice. It's delicious, and it's available. And later on, we're going to be doing smoked salmon. Same thing. This is smoked. It's already cooked. It's available. You can have it in your refrigerator, freezer, whatever. So all of these things, on a whim, if you're like craving sushi like me, I just love sushi, you know, but I don't want to go out and get it. I just make it, and it doesn't take that long, really. Just a little planning, especially the rice. You've got to make sure that's, you know, like if you want to plan it to where it's, you make the rice and then put your rice in the refrigerator or even a cold bath, but make sure you put a towel over it so it doesn't dry up, and then you can chop all your stuff and get all of that ready for production. All right, so here we go again. So I got to make sure it's right by my stomach here, holding on to all of the elements on here, the mat, the parchment paper, and the edge of the sushi nori. And I'm going to tuck. See, starting already. And then pull this away. There. And then I'm halfway. I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure. And then I'm almost at the end here. Water. And the final roll right there. Oh, it didn't stick. More water. It's okay. Okay, there it is. So I wait for all of my sushi to be rolled first before I cut it. You want to let your sushi rest just for a couple of minutes, just to get all of those rice and ingredients in there kind of incorporated together, so it binds a little bit more to the rice before you cut it. So I'm going to set these guys aside here. And then we are going to do next a reverse method. All right, if you're following me on this, let's see, where are we? Yep, so allow the rolls to sit for a couple of minutes before cutting it. All right, so let's go ahead and do the reverse one. This is another method. There's a lot of methods to doing sushi. These are all the basic ones. This is just the 101. We can move on to a different one at a later time, but this is your basic sushi rolling technique. The simplest and not so complicated. They can get a little bit more complicated and beautiful too. It's like an art, you know. So same thing, My sushi roll. Got my rice. I'm gonna wet my hands again. Now this technique here is super simple. And it's about the same thing, but the look is different. You've seen once I show you this, you'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen that at the restaurants or at the convenience store where I secretly buy my sushi because I'm in a hurry. And yes, I have eaten some convenience store sushi, and sometimes I regret it, sometimes it is so good. But it's just one of those things. Gas station ones, you know. And don't ever microwave your sushi. No. And what you want to do is eat it fresh, or room temperature at least. Cold one is not that great either, but hey, if you're desperate like me sometimes and I just want to eat sushi, then I go for it. No shame. All right. Here we go. See, that's it. Done with that. So make sure everything is good. Actually, for the reverse roll, you don't need the edge here on the top. You'll see why. All right, wash my hands. All right, so I'm gonna tap it just a little bit, pat it down gently. I'm not squishing it down or anything. So, see how it's kind of like, it sticks on there, all the rice, it just stays there. You will have rice all over you, guaranteed. All right. So now with the reverse roll, remove this. You will gently pick it up and flip it. It's like that. That's the reverse roll. Okay. Now, if you want to differentiate from a reverse roll and kind of fancy it up a little bit, we are going to sprinkle some sesame seeds on here. You can use the white one and the black. I think that's really a beautiful contrast to each other, the black and white sesame. We didn't have any today, but you can get that easily. And that's another staple that you can have in your pantry. Or actually, I think sesame seeds should stay in the fridge because it does have the oils in it. It preserves it longer. So you just kind of sprinkle it around, not too much, just evenly. Then you flip. And like I said, all of this is kind of stuck on the rice already. So look at that, nothing's falling. Okay, so then we position it again towards us. Then we put our filling. So this time, just to make it different, I'm gonna do the salmon on this one. So this is 3 ounces, and you can get a lot of sushi out of this one. Same thing, cut it in strips. And you can probably go a little bit generous on your strips here too, if you like the sushi more, or the salmon. If you can get it out of here. Well, that didn't work, so it's gonna have to kind of be squished in here. Okay. Just make sure you have the ingredients on here evenly. That's all the rule. Just tear it off. That's probably the easiest. Okay. So here's my first layer. I like salmon, so I'm going to put a little bit more. Okay. So same thing now, layers. I'm going to put egg, a little bit more protein, and an avocado. And then I'm going to put in the cream cheese. You don't have to do that one. I think it's a great flavor. It kind of tones down the fishy smokiness of the smoked salmon. You can just get your cream cheese and you want it a little bit cold so it doesn't get all, you don't want to spread it. It's going to be the tricky part because it's going to kind of be like, you can't really cut it. So it's going to have to go a little bit like this. So I just took it out of the package and there you go, kind of a line like that. Okay. So there. So now, same thing. I'm going to position this right by my stomach here, right here. Holding on to the mat, parchment paper, and the nori again with these hands or fingers. And then I'm going to put it in the middle here. And then these three are going to just tuck. And then it's already beginning. Tuck. Okay, halfway, I'm going to just give it a little bit of a press here, not too much, just gentle. You see it's already forming. Okay, you can leave it there, or you can get it closer to you. If you're more comfortable getting it closer to you, you can just scoot it all the way down. But you got to make sure this does get in, it will get in the way. So just if you are more comfortable putting it towards you, you have more control of it. Instead of finishing the whole way, just go ahead and do that. All right. So like I said, you didn't need the water or anything because it's got the rice already sticking to itself. And I'm just going to give it a roll. And then you got your reverse roll right here. Now your shape might be funny. It's because when you press it, you probably put a little bit more pressure on one side than the other. You can always just fix that by just giving it another roll on the mat and on the parchment paper. See, now it's kind of, it's a better circle. And this is the bottom side. So you want to just flip that over. Do we have time for another one? Okay. So we'll do another one. And now your hands are really going to be sticky at this point. If you've made about 5 or 8 or 10 or more of this, your hands will get really sticky. That's why you need your bowl there the whole time. And you'll have rice everywhere. You'll find rice everywhere in the kitchen. So here's my, so repetitious, right? So here's my wrapper, rough side up towards me, right here. Got my rice. Is anybody doing this at the same time? Any brave soul out there doing this with me? No, no.
Feel free to unmute if you'd like.
We are.
Woo! Good job.
We're on our 4th one.
All right, you're ahead of me. Are you doing both of them? The reverse roll too? Sorry, I'm looking up there too because there's a screen, but I should be looking over here, so my bad. So you're gonna enjoy this tonight, so you're gonna have to tell me.
We made one reverse roll.
You're on the reverse roll?
Yes, one of them.
All right, so we're doing the second one here.
And while we're waiting, since the question came up in the chat, the recording is going to be posted to the Harmony Co-op website. And also we have a YouTube channel now. So I will put the link available on our website to that as well.
And that one you could definitely share with all your friends and, you know, have a sushi get together, I guess. small class.
Sushi party.
It's also going to be posted to Grover Midgie. I'll pick up the post and go there, so we'll get a wider thing. I have to say, this is so relaxing.
It is. It is a relaxing, therapeutic way of doing things. I'm like kind of talking at the same time, but I get into my sushi rolling zen. When I'm at home, you know, relax. I got the music going, my glass of wine. Yep, that's a good day. You could do whatever you want. All right, so okay, I'm gonna put my sesame seed. This is really more impressive if you got the black sesame. Right now it kind of blends in with the white, but that's okay. Or if you have, you could cut little strips of the nori, so you got a little bit of color, little tiny strips of that, and you can kind of, you know, incorporate it in here, just to make it different. All right, so now, taking that, and we are going to flip it, and try to get that end towards you, so then you don't have to mess around with the parchment paper too much. Okay, and we are doing the salmon. Yeah, when I do this with people like watching me, it's a little hectic, you know. So this is great. But what I do at a friend's house, I bring everything, and I can do this, and they can watch me, and that's kind of fun too, because they can all go and do it with me. That's if you have like a production line. That's always the fun part. All right, so I got my line here, and there's like no rules on, you know, the assembly here. We're just putting things in. So if you want whatever you put into the, you know, if you wanted the carrots on here, that's good too. And if you didn't want the cream cheese, that's good too. So you can intermix the ingredients on here. And if you find anything else online that fancies you, you can put that on there too. So with the longer sushi paper sheet, you can add a little bit more ingredients to it than opposed to having it cut in half like the restaurants would do. With the restaurant, they're a little limited on your filling if it was just a half, but depending on what you're ordering. All right, so I got all of my elements on here, same thing. These fingers holding the mat, the parchment paper, the sushi nori, and tuck. There, it's already starting. You don't even have to do a lot. You just kind of just move it, just fold it, you know, then it's starting already. And then you kind of just want to make sure you tuck. That's what these fingers do. And then these two fingers hold the mat and the parchment paper. So, okay. Send halfway, kind of just give it that secure press. Okay. All right, now you got your reverse here. All right, I think they've all sat here enough, and we are going to cut them and show you just a little bit of a presentation. Get all this out of the way. If you're in your own kitchen, you understand. All right, so I got my reverse roll here, then my regular basic one. And with the with your knife, here's another trick here. You want a pretty sharp chef knife, kitchen knife. You do not want a bread knife or any serrated. knife. You don't want to be sawing your sushi. You want to just kind of have a nice slicing technique to it. If you start sawing it, especially if you have a rough edge on your knife, you're basically disturbing all of those ingredients inside. You're moving them too much. So you got to have your knife sharp, and you also have to have your trusty bowl of water again. You do this carefully. Moms, dads, adults will do this for the kids. So this doesn't stick. Okay, we'll do the, so what I want to like doing is I like to cut it in half first. See, just a regular motion like that. See that? All of your tuna there incorporated, and it's still sticking together. I mean, you can toss this around and it still stick together. So I got half here, and then I'm gonna cut that one. You gotta constantly clean your knife too, by the way. You can probably get away with maybe 2 to 3 cuttings, then it starts to get gummy and sticky. Then you cut it in the middle again, and then cut this one in the middle again, and then wash. You'll get it. Once you start doing this, you'll understand the washing is so important. And then you cut those guys in half again. Okay. So this is a roll. This is what you would order at the restaurant, and see how nice that is. It's all sticking in there too. So nothing, you'll understand once I tell you about that rolling, that kind of the end roll where you're pressing a little bit. That's what happens, is you kind of get them all incorporated together. And I mean, they're tough. They're tough little things. So, and then at the end too, you don't want to, that's why you don't want to skim on the ends, because those guys get some food too. So that is that one. Do this one quickly. If you have a wet towel, you can use that too. So doing it half. You get about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. I can eat 2 rolls, 2.5, if I'm really hungry. And it's really fulfilling. I mean, there's not much to it, but you know, you get all of that rice. Also, I've been asked too if you can use brown rice, quinoa, all of those different alternatives. Definitely brown rice you can use. If you were going to cook the brown rice, I would suggest just making it a little bit thicker, maybe like more stickier, add a little bit more water. But the quinoa and all the other grains are too loose. They're not sticking. That's the whole point about the sushi rice, is that it's really made for it to be sticky. So here's the second roll. And this one, you definitely make sure your knife is clean, because you're cutting straight into the rice right away. See that? Half. And keep, this has the cream cheese too, so we have to remember whatever you put in there affects your, you know, your cutting abilities too. So definitely you gotta clean that up. Make sure it's sharp. You can tell too when you didn't tighten it. It gets a little loose when you start cutting it. All right, so that one, and I'll just cut the last one, then we'll go over our sauces. Our basic sauces that you can do is soy sauce. It's so much yummier with ginger, those fermented ginger, and wasabi. Most of you, I think, have had sushi. That's why you're taking this class, because you like it and you want to do it at home. So those are the basic dipping sauce for that. I did provide 2 more dipping sauce on our sheet here that you can get from Kate when you come back, when you're buying your ingredients. We're going to do the spicy mayo and the eel sauce. And those 2 are the pretty common ones that you get at the sushi restaurants. All right. Okay. All right, so now this is what you have. You have 4 rolls. Let's see, I could probably get 1 more. See, I said 4 on here. 4 to 5 rolls with 2 cups of raw rice. So that would be about, I think I have it on here. It's a lot of rice that you can put on here. It's 1 cup of dry rice equals 3 cups of cooked. So with 2 cups, you can get away with doing 4 to 5 rolls, depending on how big you put your filling in and how much rice you did. I could go with 5. I could do another one with 2 cups. So if you're going to be doing, you know, for a couple of people, you could definitely do more rice and, you know, keep going. Okay, so with the sauce, I like to call it a drizzle because I like to dip mine in soy sauce, wasabi, and the ginger. So the wasabi, if you're familiar with wasabi, it's like a horseradish. It gets really in your nose. Love it. And then this the wasabi, it's all here. The sushi ginger. And with the wasabi, it comes in powder form. Sometimes it comes in a paste. This one is a powder. You add water to it. It's one of those survival. You can have this in your pantry literally forever. You won't go through it. I mean, this is a lot already. You just want a tiny little bit just to give you that whoo factor, you know. But yeah, otherwise you don't need much. And if you're not familiar with it, don't take a lot. It's not. It looks like guacamole. No, it's spicy. It's really spicier. It's like in your nose kind of thing. So that's a way to do that. Now, the spicy mayo is basically half a cup of the mayo. You can get it here. Sriracha. Sriracha you can get anywhere, and it's another pantry thing that I just love having, just for all of my other cooking too. And cayenne pepper. I'm sure everybody's got some of that. And that's pretty much it. You just mix all that together. And what I like doing is putting it in like one of these ketchup bottle squeezy things. If you buy anything with the squeezy top and plastic, save that for these situations. Because what you want to do is kind of, so for presentation, you got it in a nice plate and everything. And you just kind of, you want to just drizzle. I don't know if you can see this. Just like at the restaurant, you kind of just drizzle it around, just like that. That's if somebody really wants this. Otherwise, you can just serve it on the side like that. All right. Now, also, I did the eel sauce ahead of time. That's half a cup soy sauce, half a cup rice vinegar, half a cup sugar. So you can tell this is all the same stuff that we've been using in this recipe, the soy sauce, the rice vinegar. So all of these are pretty much something that would be great to have in your pantry already. And that does require heating up and simmering. So so you get that nice thick consistency. So we were simmering that while I was doing this. So same thing, when you're doing your sushi at home, you can go ahead and have all that ready. So I'm just gonna grab that. So this is my, what I've done here. So I let it sit. So it's like a glaze almost. It's got that nice consistency. It's like thicker. So it's kind of like syrup, okay? And you want to get that into room temperature. You basically cook this down to half the amount. You get that nice thick effect, and also the sugar kind of gets that nice syrupiness to it. And same thing, you just kind of, if you have that bottle, you could put it on there, or you can just drizzle it just like this, or you could have it off to the side and let people decide what they want. Like that. Okay, so basically that was the basic roll and the reverse roll. And I hope you guys enjoy this. Is there anybody with any questions right now? That pretty much concludes all the technical stuff. So, does anybody have any questions?
Thank you for your time. It was great.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being on Zoom. This is really a neat experience for both of us, for everybody here at Harmony. And
Step into frame. Thank you all for joining us for Harmony's. This is our first class of the year, and it's our first virtual class period. So thank you all for joining us. I think it's been a lot of fun.
yeah, and you can get
Thank you.
Thank you. You can get all
Thank
this.
you. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
If you want to come into the
Rose and Marcia as well.
show you where everything is personal. So it's too bad.
Thank you.
In person,
Thank
but
you.
until we are able to be here in person, we have.
Yeah, sign up for this one when we do start in-person classes. It's so much fun doing this, and then you're going to be a pro already by the time you get here. So. All right, well,
I do have one question.
okay.
Yeah. And that's, back in the day when we were able to have a party, you might need to make something ahead of time. So how long would this kind of sushi last, and do you put it in the fridge? How would you keep it before eating?
It's one of those you have to prepare pretty much while you're going to eat it. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, you can put it in the fridge. If you do, I would put it on room temperature before serving. Try not to microwave it, just room temperature. That's why you're really not supposed to do that if you had real sushi grade raw fish, basically. The canned goods and the smoke can pretty much last for a bit on room temperature. But otherwise, it's one of those, you could do it the day of. I would stretch it the next, if you really had to do it the next day, but you can taste it. You will definitely taste the difference, especially just with the rice. That will kind of get a little bit tougher, and it'll be a cold rice basically. So yeah,
Right.
I would do this, plan on doing it the same day. And like I said, it's kind of a fun thing to do in front of people anyway, because that's like in the sushi restaurants. It's like you're watching them and kind of, and it's an interacting kind of process. Is what I think.
Exactly. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, there's work.
Yeah. There's two of us here, so we know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's
You're
lovely.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we off? All right.
Bye.
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 Bye, thanks.
Thank you. Bye. Does anybody have any more questions?
Yeah, we'll be here for a couple more minutes if you do.
If you think of anything, let me know. Wish you guys were here to enjoy this. Really yummy. When you do it, you let me know, actually. Let Kate know how it went.
For sure.
All right, thanks.
Anything else?
Connie, you're still online.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know how to do this. I wanted to tell you that my friends, the Petersons, who took your sushi class, have made it several times since then.
Oh yeah, I remember. Good.
Dave Peterson. He loved it.
Oh good. This is as close as we'll get to a class, so
For now.
for now.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Connie.
Thank you.
You can just probably close the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going to stop our recording now. So thank you very much, Connie.